pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Evening roll call.
Bryce Steiner?
Yes.
Jason Franks?
Yep.
Steve Jordan?
Yes.
Kenny Reinhardt?
Yes.
Dean Reister?
Yes.
And Brian Smith?
Yes.
Approval of the minutes.
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes as posted.
I will second that.
Bryce Steiner?
Yes.
Steve Jordan?
Yes.
Jason Franks?
Yes.
Kenny Reinhardt?
Yes.
Dean Reister?
Yes.
And Brian Smith?
Yes.
Financial report.
It's the 19th, right? Yeah. Any questions on the financials?
What were the two radios for $10,000?
Can you tell me where you're at? What page?
Oh, no, I can't. I looked at them the other day.
I
And
was gonna say, we saw it the
Bryce
other-
might remember what page.
They never kind
It
of
was
missed.
$10,000?
Yeah.
Is the J and K, is that what you asked about?
I think it's
11-3.
And I do not remember where that was at.
Did we buy any Marsh radios?
That's probably what it was, yeah.
I don't.
it just seemed like it was quite a lot
Oh, green.
for a
Are
radio.
you talking about this one?
Yeah, it was actually 4,679. Yeah,
Yeah.
we have it right there.
And
That's
then there was another one.
That's for two radios. They're like $2,000 each.
yeah,
Oh,
pricey.
I thought I looked at it wrong.
So,
Well, the 10,000 was the I think it said the organic matter or something.
Go
Okay.
green. Go
So
green
go
was
green.
10,000.
Okay, okay.
That is correct.
Yeah,
They're their
you're right.
compost.
You're
They're the
right.
ones-
Yep.
They they did the compost.
so then what about the $520?
Where are you at?
J&K
11-10,
Communications.
page 6.
Page 6?
Yeah.
You said J&K Communication?
Yeah.
That was a radio repair. They had some issues with their radio and they had to
The
repair.
new ones?
No,
No, okay,
no.
okay. Okay.
Except by you, I get in trouble.
You got anything else? You got any questions?
No,
Did you get a
it
motion?
just everything seems
I'll make a
expensive
motion,
anymore.
we accept financials.
I'll second.
It is.
Dean Reister?
Yes.
Kenny Reinhardt?
Yes.
Bryce Steiner?
Yeah.
Jason Franks?
Yes.
Steve Jordan?
Yes.
And Brian Smith?
Yes.
Okay. Mr. Coxey's up. Yes.
Well, we're here today to appreciate and thank the Antwerp Village Council for your support. It's been 20 straight years that you guys have invested in our office with Kristen Schilt, our office manager here as well. And we want to thank you for all you have done in supporting us and helping us as a 501c3. That really helps us in our office out to continue to be able to provide what we can for you guys. As the door is always open, I talked to Brian quite a bit in regards to projects that we have going on. We share ideas back and forth as to things that we could be doing or what we should be looking at. And I appreciate his help and guidance in a lot of things that he understands as a commissioner as well as an administrator. So please know that the door is open. I know that Steve has been participating with us along with Brian in the water development project. Again, we're not trying to guide anybody in any one direction. We're just trying to provide all the opportunities that are out there in that realm. And so that at some point, Antwerp Village, along with the others that are discussing this, can make an educated decision on how you want to move forward and do what it is that you guys need to do. So February 23rd, we're trying to hold a meeting that will be a collective meeting that includes the chamber, the council, the Rotary, ACDC. Seems like there was a fifth group. Oh, Antwerp CIC. Where we all can bring not only those groups, but also members from the community to sit down with Maumee Valley Planning, do a SWOT analysis, and decide what it is that collectively Antwerp would like to see going forward in the future. It's very intriguing for our office to hear from each one of those 5 groups individually when they have a project going on, but I think it would be a good idea to sit down at the table all together to try and make sure we're all on the same page of just because the council has an idea of something doesn't mean that everybody else is supportive of it, and vice versa, that we're all working collectively and we're not just chasing squirrel nuts to fill a tree, you know? We want to make sure we're all going in the same direction and it's a collective thought going forward. Kristen works with the Young Professionals Group.
Yeah, we just started the group as of this year, and it's a group for anyone age 40 and under that lives or works or works
Sorry, Kenny, you're out.
in the county. Just kind of trying to establish a networking group in the county for any young professionals in the area wanting to get connected with resources, with community organizations, and just kind of get established.
So we're hoping that that develops into something that maybe if we got some Antwerp students or young professionals that are involved with this, that maybe they become somebody that becomes the next council member as people retire or step away, and we have some contact there already rather than us all scratching our head on what's next and who's next. So if you know of anybody that fits into that category in all of your professional contacts here in the village, please let Kristen or I know, and we'll get you hooked into that meeting schedule and how that can work.
Where's that meeting gonna be?
They move it around the county, Kenny.
Oh, okay.
So last time they were in Paulding, and it's been in Payne, it's been here in Antwerp at the, and it's been in Oakwood. So they kind of move it around to make sure everybody has equal opportunity to join in.
We do have a Facebook page, so if you need to direct anyone, it's the Young Professionals of Paulding County on Facebook.
Your meeting on the 23rd, is that the VFW?
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm working on solidifying that with Shelley right now.
Okay.
She had a family member pass, so we'll kind of give her a little minute here. But yeah, we'll verify that and get it out to the public.
Okay.
Gabe's working with us as well.
Did you say 20 years?
20 years, yeah, and it's on the plaque.
Yeah.
We brought in the plaque, we present the
Yep.
plaque to you guys,
Right
and
here, I was afraid I'd break it.
very thankful for all your support. Any questions for us before we bail out?
Get it framed.
Thank you guys for.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's a great partnership, and we appreciate it. Appreciate you guys.
Thanks, Tim.
Yeah, Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
One and all.
You too,
Thanks, Tim.
Yep, you bet.
Okay, George is here.
Sounds like George is walking in right now.
Is he? Okay.
There's the door flag.
He did it last one right.
Oh, okay. Well, let's go on and we'll catch up with George when he comes back in. Go ahead, Amy.
The first reading is ordinance number 2022-23. This is a final reading, an ordinance to establish the time and place of regular meetings of the council for the village of Antwerp, Paulding County, Ohio, for calendar year 2023.
Need a motion?
Yes.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Who was the second?
Fine.
Jason Franks,
Yes.
Brian Smith, Bryce Steiner,
Yes.
Steve Jordan,
Yes.
Kenny Reinhardt,
Yes.
and Dean Reister.
Yes.
Do you want me to keep going?
Yeah. Oh, George is here now. We'll let him do it. George, you want to go over your report?
Sure. Any questions? Okay, thanks.
Okay, Damien. Thank you.
Okay. That was easy.
No questions for George?
I have ordinance number 2022-24. This is also a final reading, an ordinance amending ordinance number 2018-17, an ordinance increasing water rates for the village of Antwerp, County of Paulding, Ohio, specifically amending sections 2 and 5 of ordinance number 2018-17 to increase the minimum charge of each tap effective January 1st, 2023.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Dean Reister.
Yes.
Jason Franks.
Yes.
Bryce Steiner.
Yes.
Steve Jordan.
Yes.
Kenny Reinhardt.
Yes.
And Brian Smith.
Yes.
I would like to make one comment about it just so it's on the record. I really didn't get any negative feedback on it. I've got just somebody suggesting that the lines get replaced before the water plant itself, but I really didn't get, I thought I was gonna get a lot more than
People know it's gotta be done.
I really feel as though everybody knows and
So,
understands where we're
yeah, I
at.
just wanna make sure that was.
I've not gotten any negative remarks about it.
Yeah, I thought we were, I think that maybe at first when I went on Facebook, maybe there was, but I don't really check Facebook, so.
Yeah.
Yep,
Good.
same thing for me, same response.
Yeah,
That was the final reading, they'll get us when we walk out tonight.
That's probably true. It'll
Now
probably
they get
be,
their bill.
it'll probably be at the January meeting.
It'll be April, and right after they pay, April's meeting.
Yeah, okay.
And that's my final comment on that.
Well, thanks everybody for passing that. We really needed to get that moving.
This is a first reading, ordinance number 2022-27. An ordinance authorizing the village fiscal officer to reside outside the village of Antwerp. I move.
What if we turned that down?
I'm gone.
Is there a reason why we're bringing this up?
We missed it.
Huh?
We missed it. When she was appointed, she resided in the village.
Right.
Typically, when somebody moves out, you need to have an approval of it since it requires it.
Right,
It just
right.
was not done.
Just,
I can't remember, I think Dean found it, but it wasn't done.
yeah, I know the rules or the ORC says it needs to be for a fiscal officer, but, how many of our employees are in town now? I know when we start making that exception, well, you're elected, so I'm not sure you count.
oh, well, okay.
Well,
Well,
I mean, are you talking fire and EMS as well, or are you just?
No,
talking-
just full-time employees.
Chris Walters.
Bill.
Bill lives
Bill's
outside.
outside.
Bill's outside.
Chris
Chris.
is outside. Yeah, so Chris Walters.
And Ashley McDougal, those are the two.
Yeah. It seems like, what was it, 2006, when Sarah was allowed to live out, it seems like a lot of people after that moved out.
Well,
Employees.
she was because she was a village administrator. The employees aren't required to be village
Right,
residents.
right.
So elected officials obviously are village fiscal officer administrator that can allow them not to
Right.
live in the village, but.
Yeah.
So what are you asking for?
Nothing, it's just
We're
a
gonna get out
first
just the first
reading.
reading.
We'll read it again and,
Okay,
well, we might add it to the special meeting in December, or should we just wait till January? So it'll
Make sure
be,
it's just on your meeting notice. since
Okay.
it's a
the
special
final
meeting.
reading will be in January. This is ordinance number 2022-28. This is, an emergency reading, an ordinance establishing compensation for the village of Antwerp, Ohio for calendar year 2023 and declaring the same an emergency.
Make a motion, we suspend the rules.
I'll second.
Is this really all we pay some of the fire people? Is that what the state says that's the most we can pay? I mean,
No.
it just seems, it
No,
might
but
explain
if you-
some things.
If you talk to the fire people, they tell you they don't do it for money, they
I
do.
know. It
I know.
just-
And I think your council and your financial committee is trying
Yeah,
to
yeah.
get them up there.
Yeah.
They're all, volunteer, fire and EMS, you know.
Yeah, I know
Not
they're
hired,
volunteer,
they're
but I know
volunteers,
you know,
yeah.
they can still get
I know,
paid,
but they don't make anything.
I know, that's
Yeah.
the,
What was the rate increase?
You're not wrong. I mean, you're not wrong at all, Bryce.
I mean, that just like, feels like,
Who did 5%?
like I need to donate whatever I get here to them.
Okay, we're in the middle of a roll call, so, but
Yes,
if you wanna do, after we get the vote on the emergency suspension, if you guys wanna talk then, before somebody makes a motion, that's what I'd recommend
Okay.
keeping the rules of order.
Dean Reister,
Yes.
Kenny Reinhardt,
Yes.
Bryce Steiner,
Yes.
Jason Franks,
Yes.
Steve Jordan,
Yes.
and Brian Smith.
So that allowed it to suspend the rules, but now this is why I would open it up for discussion, have your discussion now before we have or you could even have a motion to approve and someone second it and then open it up for discussion, but just do that before there's a roll call in process.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Some of those wages.
I'll second.
Any discussion before roll call?
I'm not sure what you could do, but.
Steve seconded.
Yeah.
So we have a sliding scale,
Yeah.
and at the beginning of the year, if you wanna meet with finance and tell them to increase it in the sliding scale, we can adjust that at any time within the sliding scale. Right, Dean?
Yes.
For those ones you're talking about in
And all
particular.
this was a 5%.
Any further discussion before roll call?
I don't have anything.
Dean Reister,
Yes.
Jason Franks,
Yes.
Bryce Steiner,
Yes.
Steve Jordan,
Yes.
Kenny Reinhardt,
Yes.
and Brian Smith.
Yes.
Um, And the next one is ordinance number 2022-29. This is an ordinance to make appropriations for current year expenses and other expenditures of the village of Antwerp, Ohio during the fiscal year ending December 31st, 2023, and declaring the same an emergency.
I make a motion to suspend the rules in 3 readings.
I'll second that.
Dean Reister,
Yes.
Steve Jordan,
Yes.
Bryce Steiner,
Yes.
Jason Franks,
Yes.
Kenny Reinhardt,
Yes.
and Brian Smith.
Yes.
Okay, so which one of these is like the health insurance going under? Is that general or?
All of them. So like police gets paid out of the police.
Okay.
Brian gets paid out of 4 funds. He gets paid out of the general, water, sewer, and street.
Mm-hmm.
I get paid out of like general, water, sewer. April gets paid out of, well, she wouldn't be one. So it's all of them. There's like percents that get paid from each one.
Yeah. So, did we go ahead with that 200,000 expenditure or did
No,
that
it's
change?
next. It's the next thing we're talking about.
That's
If
the
you want
next
me to
thing we're
hold
talking-
off on this and Melvin.
No,
can-
I was just questioning it because that insurance is like 10% of our entire budget.
Yeah, no, we got it. We got good news on that.
Yeah, I
Okay.
do feel like the news on the insurance.
Okay. Go
So
ahead.
we just need a motion.
Motion to approve in a
Motion.
second.
So I'll motion to approve.
I'll second.
Any further discussion before roll call?
I don't have anything.
Kenny.
No discussion? Brian Smith,
Yes.
Kenny Reinhardt,
Yes.
Bryce Steiner,
Yeah.
Jason Franks,
Yes.
Steve Jordan,
Yes.
and Dean Reister.
Yes.
And Dean needs to sign this.
Did you get my changes on that?
I did, I just didn't print it for them because it was one word on this, but I have it for me,
Okay. Okay.
because I was still reading the same thing. So Dean signs this, right? Jan, you don't have to sign this one. Okay, and then the next thing on the agenda for me, I'll do the Rita report real quick. We have Rita with a month of December collected in November, $29,210.76. That brought us to a grand total of $377,874.22. Now, I want you to know, just make a note of this, we sent out like 400 subpoenas for 17, 18, 19, and 20 on taxpayers that hadn't paid. So this is higher because we're collecting a lot of that old taxes. So I don't know that it will trend the same way for 2023. And then we're to the motion on the health insurance, and I'll let Dean.
Well, I have a question on the Rita report.
Oh, go ahead.
How much total do we pay Rita fees, percentages, everything in a year? Because that's not on the Rita report. Could that be added to the Rita report? What goes to them?
Sure.
I think the financials just had a line that we paid Rita, I thought.
It does, that's what I was gonna say. It's in your financials, there's a line in your expense report that says Rita.
It's not just that month though?
No, it's the whole year.
The whole year?
It's the whole year. Go to the, expenses,
Uh-huh.
go to the year-to-date total. You'll see the month, and then there's a year-to-date. It's on the first page, it should be in the A's. Or in the A's, for the
Okay.
general fund.
Okay. Let's see if I can find it.
I wanna say it's 3%.
Is that the one that just is under income tax? Where it says, no, that's uncollected balance.
Actually, I have it.
Right here, I can look at it really quick.
I know it's a percentage.
I think it's 3%. Read it, fees and income. So it's on the first page of the expenses, and it's probably
3.5%.
9 from the bottom.
It's 3.5%, and this is,
It's like $12,645.83.
there you go.
Okay, and that's the total amount. There's
It
no-
won't be because it's not showing December, like I haven't put in the fees, but it's $12,887.21.
But that's year to date is the number on here.
Yeah, is there a fee along with the percentage, like that says, you've got 2,000 to enroll or something like that? So it's just that amount is the total. Okay. Okay. Thanks for
Keep in
finding
mind
that,
it
Brian.
amounts to 3.5%.
Okay.
And then Dean, if you wanna do insurance.
I guess this will be part of my committee report. When we met with in November, we met with First Insurance Group. Ken and Alex were here, and we asked them about the insurance rate, why it was up so high. And what basically they said to us was because the insurance company had a greater outlay of about 150% of what our premiums total. So they just kind of looked at that number and said, we're increasing your rates. So we asked Alex and Ken to try to find solutions moving forward to and they recommended that we do what they call form fire, where we have everybody fill out forms, they take it back to them, then they send it out to all the insurance companies, and then we'll get quotes back from different insurance companies. We asked about HSAs and things like that. To do an HSA, the village would still have to carry a high deductible insurance policy. There's some other things that we can look at along that line. So we ended up, we waited for the form fire to come back, and we had another finance and insurance meeting on December 14th. The new rates were surprisingly lower after the form fire. We got different quotes from different insurance companies, and the committee discussed the pros and cons of the different insurance providers and things like that. After we talked about it for a while, our recommendation is for the village to switch insurance to Anthem. They have a policy that's called an SOCA MEWA 1,500 20% by 7,000. What it does is it changes the deductible just a little bit and changes some of the other out of pockets a little bit. The Anthem insurance, with their if we switch over, it's approximately, and this is just a rough number that we kind of threw at it. It's about $70,000 less than a renewal from the insurance where we're at.
Wow.
So, with that being said, right now where we're at, that was after that report. I would make a motion that we switch the village to the Anthem insurance. if this is the proper
Usually
protocol.
what we do is the finance committee gives their recommendation, and then we do a motion to approve that recommendation.
Okay,
So
that was the
You made the
recommendation.
recommendation. And I guess you can move to have the recommendation approved too, but
And I'll make the motion too. That was where we ended
what
up
was
with
the name
insurance.
of the plan
I've got
again?
it,
Okay,
it's
you got that.
SOC, yeah, I've
Do
got
we need to
it.
suspend
what
the
we
rules
knew-
for that?
No, because it's just
No?
a motion to approve the recommendation made by the finance
Okay.
committee, and it sounds like, I'm not gonna be able to probably capture it well, but Amy's got the language.
It's to approve Anthem SOCA Benefit Plus Blue Access PPO 1,500, 20%, 7,000. That's the plan.
And then that would be effective January 1,
Yes.
2023.
So that actually makes us less than last year because you of this.
Yes,
And then
so we
with
actually
adding
are,
Brian on
We're
to,
$200 more
it did
Oh,
end up
yes.
that, okay.
because we added Brian on. We were less, but Brian wasn't on our insurance last year.
Is that because of his
Still a
age?
good result.
Actually,
No.
no.
Shots
Stay in the crosswalk.
Okay, no, thank you guys for pressing
Yeah.
the insurance company
Yeah,
harder
it actually
To-
worked out rather well.
to get a better rate, so I'm glad you guys did
Yeah.
that.
Well
Well, it's
done.
funny, Medical Mutual came down like $50,000 too, from their original quote. But,
Just because of the form fire.
Yes.
yes,
Wow.
Just
But-
because
And that
you
No,
was-
decided
because
the
they,
rate.
they
Yeah.
sent them the
Well,
new
they see
rate.
this, they sent.
They sent them these guys' rates.
so they tried to come back, but the Anthem plan is actually, everything's pretty much the equivalent, less like small, like changes here and there, but again, it's almost 70, it's a little over $70,000 cheaper, so
That's a lot.
Yeah. we were excited.
Yeah, we were
Good
very
news.
excited about that when we found out that it was gonna be that much.
So what do you need?
Well, we
Dean
have a
motioned.
motion
I
to
made a
accept the
motion.
I'll second it.
recommendation.
I got a second.
You second it? Okay.
Nice job, guys.
Dean
Thank you.
Reister,
Yes,
Bryce Steiner,
Yes.
Jason Franks,
Yes.
Steve Jordan,
Yes.
Eddie Reinhardt,
Yes.
and Brian Smith.
Yes,
Okay.
Way
Good
to
job,
push
you
back,
guys.
guys.
thank you.
Yeah. Commend the finance committee. They did a great job.
Yeah.
Amy, I'll let you get a copy of this and I'll keep the original when we have another finance committee to approve these now.
Okay, Brian?
I sent out, well, actually, I just gave out, I believe, a copy, just a couple updates. The Erie Street sidewalk, you know, we talked about it, we have an ODOT grant, a TAP grant. And probably a month and a half ago, I met with ODOT and I met with our engineers and we walked the properties and talked about the things that would have to be removed or relocated or whatever the case may be. And the engineer asked me, he said, how much money did they give you for the project? And I said, 100,000. He said, well, did they give you an escalator clause? And I said, well, yeah, it was 70,000. They went to 100,000. He said, Brian, he said, this is going to cost you 300,000 by the time you get done with ODOT. And I said, well, what's the sense of getting the grant? So anyways, his recommendation was to turn the grant down and just go out and get a price. And so I've not turned the grant down because that requires your approval. But I already have a price, and I think we're looking at about $43,000 to have the entire sidewalk done.
Instead of that 50, 43, right?
Right.
I guess grants aren't always free.
Evidently not with ODOT. Yeah,
We don't need engineering with that then, right?
no, sir. All we have to do is stay in the right of way
Yeah.
and stuff. The question becomes, how do we want to pay? We have, I went back and looked in our files, we have an ordinance on the books, I think it's 2008-49, that states that we have the ability to charge or to assess landowners for sidewalks if we need to install them. We do have our permissive fund that comes money from the state in gas tax and then from the county in license plate tax. And collectively right now they're worth about $34,000. There's still some money at the county that I can draw down. If we want, we can apply that funding towards the cost and assess the landowners the balance. We can assess the landowners 100% of the cost or anything in between. But we're gonna have to figure out what we wanna do before we move forward, because if we start doing sidewalk in March, we're gonna have to pay when it's completed.
I just have a comment to make over, I don't know if it's an unwritten law or not, but it's always been, if there's a sidewalk and it's broke, you have to repair it. If there's no sidewalk, you don't have to do it.
That's part of that ordinance.
I know. So I would like to see us do something where we don't assess the landowner very much money because of that. But that's always been that way, hasn't it, Jan?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I remember when I had to put mine in, and we had to pay for the thing, pay for it.
You're talking about uptown now.
Yeah, I'm talking on the 400 block. Yes, on North Main.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess my suggestion would be is, I don't think it'd be fair for the others who paid to put theirs in, and then these get it.
Mm-hmm.
But I can understand too, the full amount, so maybe 50%.
What was it when you had to pay it? Was it the full amount?
It was 2008, I can't remember. Yeah, I remember it cost a couple thousand, something like that.
Mine was the same. They assessed me. I had asked the council to hold off. I was actually laid off when I had to do mine. I didn't have any income.
Mm-hmm.
I had, very little income, and council said, nope, you gotta fix it. You're in the schedule and you're fixing it. So, and I spent 100% of the $2,000 it took to do the sidewalk in front of my house. The only thing after that is the following year, the village dug it up.
And they
That's the way it goes.
but they did replace it, right?
Well, it could be fixed again.
Well, that would lead into the water lines that weren't replaced. Would that happen? Are there water lines in that area where?
Oh yeah, there's.
So.
Well, if we have a private contractor doing it, we have less issues. If we use ODOT, then there are hydrants that have to be moved, there are meters that have to be moved, because they just create a straight linear sidewalk. They don't deviate or anything. Trees have to be cut
If
down.
we do it ourselves, you can go around this.
Yes. Yeah, one of the things, and I don't need an answer tonight, obviously. We can talk about it next month. One of the things I can do is I can call the county auditor. When we do assessments on things back in my county and stuff, we'll do we'll give them 5 years to pay. They'll pay 20% each year for 5 years. The village would be on the hook to pay the full bill. The balance would be then that it would be assessed by the tax collector, and then it would come back to the village. So you could wait up to 5 years to get all your money back. But I can tell you, based on what I think cost is going to come in at, you have a range of anywhere from $2,600 to $7,600 per parcel. So
That
26
could
to
be
76, you said?
2,600 to 7,600.
depending on the frontage.
Depending on the size of the lot. That goes from 60, let's see,
Yeah,
60 feet to 175 feet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
I
what you're
would,
looking
my
at there.
suggestion is that it would be assessed, and that would give them time to do it, unless there's an option that they put it in themselves.
You ought to see if
But I don't think we're gonna get a better
Dollar
rate.
General would want to pay anything with that. That's doing it maybe for their benefit.
See, right now they can't even get anybody to fix their heating and
They won't even
cooling.
fix their heat.
Oh, is that why they didn't run the refrigerators the other night?
Maybe they're saving the furnace money for the sidewalk, I don't know.
I mean, regardless of what happens out there, that is a highway, and there's a church out there, and there is 2 businesses at the other end of that road. I mean, I can see it being more important to have a sidewalk there than the one that I had to put in front of my house that goes nowhere.
Yeah.
So, all in all, I can see it being
It's
useful.
not
to
unusual
have-
to see people walking in the road, and it's not just kids. There's
Yeah.
adults
No,
walking
it's
in the
adults.
road. You see it very often.
Bikes too.
Yeah.
I definitely think it's needed. I just think that, if we could at least mitigate the annualized payments for the landowners over a period of time, it would soften the blow. And,
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I agree with that.
Because I'm sure they're not sitting home a week before Christmas thinking about putting sidewalk in.
And honestly, I don't mind the idea of doing it themselves, because I know at least one of these people out here has the capability of doing it all themselves. And they was thought about it, and they're waiting to see what happens, whether they're made to put it in or not.
But it's gotta be, I mean, we've got.
It'd have to meet the
set-
requirements
yeah.
that we want the 4 foot wide and
If they
by
could do
4
it
inches thick
themselves to
and
our yeah,
with reinforcement. and
yeah.
Set so it don't hold water, it'd have to be graded right
Yeah.
and all
What
that
would
good
you
stuff.
do with driveways, go up to it and then skip across it?
Yes. And you could probably bring the sidewalks down depending on the driveways close to grade. So
I thought for
that's-
sure the driveways just had to be 6 inches.
No, we're not doing driveways.
You're not doing
It's
the
not in the
driveway,
ordinance.
then jump across it.
I don't think so.
If you did ODOT, you
They
have to
just
do
did it.
driveways, it approaches.
Okay.
The eighth
And those
grade.
would have to be 6 inches.
Mhm.
It doesn't have to go across the driveway?
I was trying to think of the ones,
It does with ODOT,
It does with ODOT.
but not.
If we're doing it,
Independently.
okay.
I must have went above and beyond.
We did.
Good
right?
job.
I guess I'm okay without the driveway.
Are you talking about the local guy?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, so then, just a quick update on Railroad Street. The Holden County Commissioners got back with me and told me that the amount of the grant for Railroad Street went from 48.5 to 61.6. They had some extra money, so they threw it our way, so, which is beneficial. Schaefer Road, still working on trying to get a grant for that. It kind of falls in between too cheap and wrong timing. It's, if I was at $500,000, it'd probably be more attractive in the grand areas than $100,000, but $1.7 million is way too much, so. Water plant funding, I met with SEIG and we discussed the opportunities. We need to have our general plan submitted to ODOT for its approval, and that is being done, I believe, this week, to be submitted. And then in talking with our engineers in Maumee Valley and looking at when grants are available, the timing, the type of grants you're most likely going to get versus the ones you truly would like to get and stuff, it looks like the summer of '24 is when we'll actually apply for grants. So we won't be doing much on the water plant between now and then. Well, I should take that back. One of the things that we're going to have to do is we're going to have to authorize doing a full set of engineering prints. And so engineering is $588,000. And we can get a, I don't know, 4.3% loan from, I think, OWDA to cover that. That then gets rolled into your construction loan. So then if you get debt forgiveness, half of that is taken out. You can get it through the EPA, but the EPA takes, and they'll tell you, 4 months, maybe a little bit longer, to get a loan through them. We already have loans existing with OWDA, so it can take 30 days. But we're going to have to make a decision on that because we can't move forward on funding without having prints. So there's that to be considered. One of the things that Jason had asked about at the last meeting was water lines. And I was going to work with Curtis last week, but he was ill. So we're going to look at and prioritize, and maybe we'll just do 3 lines depending on what we think the cost is going to be. But we're going to look at between now and the summer of '24, we're going to have additional revenue because of the increase in the rate and stuff. And we're going to use those funds to replace those water lines so that when we do build a plant, we have our water lines taken care of.
Brian, speaking of those water lines, and one of you brought up the sidewalk over there. Do we know what's under the sidewalks between there? Like, would those
On
be
Erie
replaced?
Street?
Yes.
Yes, we do.
Are those the plastic, or, I mean, like, if we're gonna replace it, would it be,
Well, if
Before we
I'm
do
not
the
mistaken, the
sidewalks.
water line's actually on the other side of the road,
okay.
and then it comes across. But I mean, we have water meters and stuff, but
Okay.
But I mean, we're not gonna, I mean, you obviously aren't gonna go very deep down the sidewalk. I mean, you're gonna go 6 inches. Put 4 inches of concrete in, so.
No, it's just if they would need replaced because they're the concrete ones or something, then
No.
now might be the time to do it.
Yeah.
Before they have to have them tore out the next year.
Exactly.
Well, and we
Mine was
need
for
to,
a gasoline though.
we need to take a look at it, because I think it's in 24, I don't think 23, ODOT is coming through and they're resurfacing and grading 49. So that'll be all redone. So if we're gonna do anything to tear up the road,
And when they gonna do that?
I believe in 24. I don't think it's 23, I think it's 24.
Will they grind down the old asphalt?
Yes,
Hopefully.
I think they're doing a full depth reclamation,
Okay,
so they'll come in and grind it down and stuff. And
good.
Be nice and get your curb back.
Yeah, my curb
Yeah.
is completely covered to asphalt now, so.
I know it's be walking tall, man. They take that grade down.
Water will actually run to the road instead of to my basement.
Any other questions?
Is there any kind of target dates on the Railroad Street and the rest of the project?
I'm just waiting for the grant funds to be approved. We had to provide things from the last council meeting, which we have done so. And so I anticipate that they will approve the grants in the first quarter, and then they'll give us the approval to go out to bid late first quarter. So hopefully we'll have construction concluded before the end of second quarter of next year. So.
Brian, is it also possible that the water plant is so expensive because we're getting grants and the engineering? Like the whole ODOT and sidewalks, is it
No.
inflated because of the grants?
No, I checked because I just felt the number was staggering.
Okay,
But I did check and stuff, and the people I checked with said that's just basically the going rate. It's a percentage of the total valuation of what your build-out cost is.
okay.
So
Whatever happened to Doug Bragg's and the driveway and nothing,
Your attorney never got back to me.
it's in his ballpark, right?
They were the ones that made the request. Okay, maybe he decided not to get it. I don't know. It's just a guess.
Well, what we need to get Doug to fill in what he dug out, put it back the way it was.
Yeah, because that house went up for sale.
His
For
house.
sale signs in the yard.
Yeah.
well, it's been in the yard for.
No, it's like out, it's advertised on
Oh, okay,
It's with the
Realtor.com and everything now.
okay. All
Is there
right.
any way that we can recognize periodically some of the firemen and the EMS, give them recognition to make it more attractive for them? It's just a thought.
You mean like have a Christmas dinner for him?
Well, I don't know.
We should invite him to our meeting.
I was gonna say, Jim bought plenty of food. You could.
In view of that, that's a good idea, but just so you're aware, we are down now as of the first of the year to 11 firemen. We currently are 13, 2 of them are leaving, both are
They
full-time
never seem to
firemen.
get any credit for what they do.
Yeah, yeah,
And, I
you're
just,
right. Fire and EMS both.
yeah, right,
So
yeah.
I talked to Roy Kalbenstein at the meeting Tuesday, and he's pursuing on a statewide level, getting something done about the training for firemen, so we reduce that a little bit and get some more firemen, because it's a statewide issue, but we're 11 firemen in enough. So,
So maybe we can come up
If
with.
there's only 11 of them, I mean, this isn't anything for them, but you could technically take one a month and put them on the Facebook page and put little facts about them, like highlights, to just shine a light on them and what they're doing, because at least it's recognizing. It doesn't like give them anything other than
Right.
the spotlight, but
They-
like
they-
since you could technically do one a month and
Sure.
whatever, that's.
They're all volunteers. We want to make sure that they're agreeing. to that
Well, yeah,
too.
no, and you'd have to
Yeah.
ask them questions. It's just like, so the company
Almost
I
like
work
an
for.
interview with them.
The company I work for, we work with a variety of companies, but like there's some that do staff highlights. So then they'll send us, and it's literally like, Susie has 3 kids, husband, loves her grandkids, likes long walks in the park, and then it'll be like, 3 questions. Like, if you were a superhero, what power would you have? Or if you, things like that. So it's just little things to get, again, spotlight on them to let people know they're there.
I think it's a good idea.
But it's not,
Yeah.
it's not anything where they're like, obviously gaining.
Yeah, but they get a little recognition from it.
Right, so. And that's just one way. I was just throwing that out there.
Well,
Obviously,
then maybe we could
work
get them a
with-
gift card then.
Yeah, that too. They probably appreciate that more than their face on Facebook. But you know, who knows?
Do they get recognized for years of service?
I don't know.
Years of service, do they get any kind of
Do they?
recognition?
No.
I think they do through the state, don't they?
Right, yeah, when he retired after 70 years.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
The only thing we ever
But
got
that's a good
was
idea,
after
too.
25 years, we could put our picture in the firehouse. That was the only thing we got.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, we should do more.
Yeah,
of
they
that.
don't get enough
At one time, we
recognition.
talked about getting stars for uniform. Every 5 years, you got another star for your uniform, but they never went through with that.
Something like that.
But you never wear your uniforms, did you?
Well, we used to wear them a lot more than they do now, yeah. Yeah, a lot more on.
Just some,
Well, you know, growing up, we had what they called Fireman's Day.
Well, yeah, we'd wear we'd wear uniforms to the school.
Get the big
kids
water
ride
ball
fire
out.
trucks
Oh,
and-
yeah.
We'd
Yeah,
have
we
handwork
had that.
days, and we wore our uniforms quite a bit.
I got a picture of you driving one in front of the old school.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, yeah.
Bring that in next time.
I'll see if I can, maybe they can post it.
okay.
Are we on to new business at all?
I'm
Let me
done.
see where we're at. You're done, Brian?
Yes, ma'am.
And we did the committee report, right, Dean?
We did.
Is there any other committee
there
reports
was
other than
this.
insurance?
Oh, I need to talk about, I'm sorry, the Holly Beach Foundation. When they sent the paperwork down to the state, because they're getting funding through the state capital budget, it is bonded differently than other projects in the state of Ohio. So one of the things that the state legal came back and said is that ACDC or the foundation would need to have a 15-year lease on that plot where that would sell. And just going back and forth with Mel in emails, that appears to be problematic because we would have to, in essence, say that we had no use for that property. So then that brings in, are we, making the lease available to everyone or selling it to anyone?
When you look at parklands, parklands are even treated separately from other public property as far as the statutes involved. And there's nothing in those that even talk about the ability to lease. So I told Brian I didn't have time to finish my research. I think this just came up late last week.
It did, yeah.
So like Brian said, typically if we want to lease or sell real property, which y'all know this, we've done this before, like with the farm ground, you have to say it's not needed for any municipal purpose, which that land isn't. So we have to bid then, advertise for bids for 5 consecutive weeks, and then we have to let it to the highest bidder. I couldn't find any exception that applied to this circumstance. Like when we did the property here with the school uptown, there is a statute that allows you to avoid the competitive bidding if you're doing like a land swap. So there's some exceptions to it, but I couldn't find anything that was applicable to this situation. And then like I was saying, parklands, it's even more restrictive when you're looking at parklands. Like it'll let you vacate and then eventually sell parklands, but that's because you haven't used the parklands as a park for like 21 years. I mean, it's very different when it comes to parklands. And I don't know if we could ever say, even if we could get around that situation, that parkland is not needed for any municipal purpose. Especially when you look at the donation agreement, the whole purpose was they would construct and then turn it right back over to the village, and we're gonna maintain it and do everything as part of the rest of the park property. So that's not gonna happen. That's not a 15-year lease to them when we're gonna be responsible for the park property. So those are the issues I saw when that came back.
So I've gone back to him and I've asked him, ultimately, we're gonna end up being the sponsor of the project, because we own the land. And so I've gone back and I've asked them, what does that entail? What does the village commit to in doing so? And I have not gotten a response yet, so I'm waiting on that. So once I get it, I'll send y'all an email with an update.
Who is that with, Brian? When you say you went back and asked them as in like this?
Maumee Valley Planning,
Okay,
they're the ones that are
okay,
managing the process.
got it.
And this has to do with that foundation trying to acquire grants?
Well, they got a grant through the state capital budget. And so, once that happens, then the money is designated to a specific department to manage, like the Department of, I don't know, Commerce or whatever the case may be. But, so, I think theirs went through ODNR. So when it goes there, then ODNR's legal takes a look at what the grant's for, and what is required in order to secure the grant. And in that process, legal came back and said, wait a second, you have to have an executed lease.
Okay.
So that, we don't wanna give you $125,000 in a year, the village comes back and tells you to dig it up and move it, so
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 wonder,
even though they must have seen the donation agreement, that wasn't
they got a
enough.
copy of
that's
it.
not good enough for
That
them.
wasn't good
No.
enough, so.
So, anyways, but I'm working
Could we,
with.
is there a way we can put a time frame on the donation agreement or anything like that?
No, you have to have a lease.
Yeah, they want a lease, like an actual lease of land. That's what they came back and said. I mean,
Does
maybe they'll come back with other
ACDC
options,
Does
but
ACDC own any property where you could do a lease swap like the school?
well, but I don't know how you do that with a park property. Because you still have to make that determination before you lease, sell any real property. You have to, council makes a determination that that land is not needed for any municipal purpose. I think that you're gonna have a hard time.
Especially
making that
carving it out.
determination. It's in the middle of the
Carving it out
park.
in the middle of the
It's in the
park.
middle of the park.
So there's a gray area full of red tape.
Yeah.
Mhm. So, I'll find out,
But then if the village goes and applies for it, we might not be able to get the grant because
It's already
wasn't that the
over
whole
with.
point
Yeah,
of the
it's,
ACDC?
it's only every 2 years. The grant process is concluded. So they've already awarded theirs. They only do it every year they do a biennium budget. So every 2 years when the state does it, they open up this capital budget for people to apply for specifically qualified projects.
Okay, what if ACDC comes back and says we don't want their budget, we can just go ahead and do it? I mean, is there?
Oh, yeah, if they don't,
Yeah,
if they don't want the
wanna fund
money,
it, they can fund it.
they can move right in.
Our donation agreement stands, that's
Yeah.
fine.
Okay,
Yeah.
so our
That was, I
donation
don't think
agreement
that
stands.
was not contingent on how they paid for the construction, it was just, that was, the burden was on them to construct and install, and once everything was done and we, approved it, and that's when it turned back over to the village to maintain. So I don't think there was any contingencies as to how or when they got the funding,
Okay,
so.
So they've just encountered a hurdle that they've asked us to see if there's anything we can do to help.
Well, I
And
think just that
technically
it
our
came back,
hands are
they wanted to
tied.
see us look if we could do that 15-year lease, and
Yeah,
I
our
think there
hands
are a
are
lot
tied
of
on that.
issues there.
We'll get it figured out.
as I said, did they give us any suggestions? I mean, surely we're not the first town who's wanted to put a,
Well, the town wouldn't be bad, it's the problem, I think
It's
the
the thing
donation.
that is
they're-
because we're
they're-
going through another entity.
yeah, we're going through
It's
The
ACDC,
the
but-
middleman is
I think
can't
if
get
it
the
was the
grant.
village, there's no problem, the village can be
Correct.
the sponsor, we own the property,
Mhm.
so.
Unless we would fund it.
I got some water lines to take care of, so.
I'm sure,
being
I'm sure
reminded.
people would probably want their water lines first.
We'll get it figured out. I don't think it's gonna be that difficult. I think we just need clarity.
Okay.
well, like if Antwerp wrote the check and ACDC just reimbursed what the set amounts.
Yeah, and that's not really
done.
the issue is who's
Issue
gonna
is
be the
who's gonna hold the
sponsor,
land.
yeah.
Okay.
That's all I have.
Steve, I have a question for you.
Yes, ma'am.
Have you done any more chucking into the recycle trash blowing all over?
I talked
Fencing or
with,
anything?
I talked to Bobby Briggs on Friday, and
I talked to you and you were going to.
Right. I talked with him about getting with him this week to see what I thought about doing is I wanted to talk to Curtis, but I thought about putting in basically 3 poles that create an L shape, but it's not boxed in,
Mhm.
and then use like the orange snow fencing type of fence material. Because my thought is that if they back a dumpster in there too far, it'll give some, whereas the metal fence it would not. It has smaller holes in the metal fence, and it's cheaper. So I'm going to get with Bobby to see what it costs to put in 3 16-foot aluminum poles and then hook fencing up to it, so that when they put those dumpsters in and the wind blows, it at most it's going to hit the fence. It's not going to go in the neighbor's field. So I think that.
Try it, see how it works.
Yeah.
We could
Short
call it
up.
compost.
But
We could just call it compost.
Yeah.
That's not what he calls it.
And any more on cameras?
No, no. I mean, we can do cameras in the spring, it's gonna have to warm up. I think that we can actually physically do them ourselves. All the equipment is there, I think we just need to upgrade the quality of what we have present. I
Okay,
think it's
well,
really old.
keep that on your to-do list, so we get good cameras to find out who's
We
putting the
also gotta
trash
get a
out
TV
there.
for in here,
Yeah,
so we can,
okay,
I got a list.
okay.
Someone told me I couldn't spend any money, so I gotta wait.
Sorry,
I didn't say any names.
you don't have to. Everybody knows I'm the Grinch.
Okay, so committee reports are done. Old business, anybody's got stuff to bring up? New business?
Okay, when we were at the zoning and planning meeting, they want to know what is the process to go and start annexing property. And there's two reasons, but the main one is Tim Copsey from Economic Development said we can put Antwerp over the bridge, but we can't do it until we annex it. Is that correct?
That's correct.
That's correct.
So what process does it take
You and I
to
already talked, but I.
annex, to begin the annexing process? Zoning and planning thinks it probably starts with them to make a recommendation, but
So-
that would be,
I don't
that,
think it's
we're
planning
supposed to be-
and zoning on the annexation. We looked at this issue.
I
It's
don't know if
been
we
more than
can.
2 weeks, so I cannot remember.
It's been probably a month and a half.
Yeah, it's been
It's
longer
not
than
much
that.
to wait for that
It's
all about
been,
that.
no, it's not a planning and zoning issue. It's, there's 3 or 5 different types of
There's, yeah,
annexations.
there's a,
I could have
my-
been prepared.
in my
to
prior-
begin with.
in my prior job, there's a
Tonight, but
quick
I can't.
annexation.
I don't have it with
we
me.
could take and we could do a annexation agreement. We would have to have ODOT sign off, we'd have to have the county commissioner sign off, and Cary Township sign off.
Yeah.
And if they do that, then council can sign off, and then it's basically done.
I think the Board of County Commissioners,
They're the ones that have to approve it.
yeah.
They hold the
When,
hearing.
and the ODOT, that was a new twist, because I know when we looked at this, it was mainly a township village issue that then got approved by the county commissioners, but the little bit of the twist was ODOT was in there, because they own, like you said, they
They own
own
the
that parcel.
Piece.
yeah, Tim brought in a map that
I
he
don't think that's a
basically just
planning and
followed the
zoning
parcel
issue.
lines
Yeah.
and said, you know, we don't have to deal with any property owners other than ODOT. ODOT's given their approval, we just have to give our stamp of approval
Yeah.
and.
Ultimately, the Board of County Commissioners are the ones that can only approve annexations within a county.
It doesn't start at the Planning and Zoning Commission. The only thing they can initiate is if they want to make a change to the zoning map or the zoning ordinance, and this really has no effect on the zoning map. It's
Okay.
more of annexing property.
I can get you a copy of the paperwork on the short annex, on quick
Which I
annexation.
have, I think that's what you and I emailed about, but I can't remember, because again, it's been,
Well, they're also interested in
Too much
annexing
time.
some other lands because they don't like the cemetery. They want it to look more like Cecil.
well, Planning and
I'm
Zoning
not saying any
Commission's
more
not
than
doing
that.
anything on the annexation. That's not, they don't, that's outside their road, they need to not do that.
You can go back and
Stay in
look
their
at-
lane,
You
that's
can go
not
back
in
and watch
their
the video if you
lane.
want.
They went way outside the
that's-
scope of what they're supposed to be doing. Okay, I'll see what I can
I'm
find, I
not
know
sure
Brian
we're
and I
ready
have
for
talked
that.
about this. Hey, that is really not for Planning and Zoning Commission, sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, we did, it's been a month ago. I'll find it, we talked about this, November 7th, so yeah, it was longer than I thought. There's 5 different types of annexation, and one is allows an expedited process that the township and the municipal corporation enter into an annexation agreement. That's before I knew the ownership, and then that's when you sent me the parcel map that showed ODOT. So we just gotta figure out if we can fall into one of those expedited process.
I'll tell you
But there are 5 different types,
in my last email to you,
which would be in a different file, so I have to go there.
it's November 7th, that I asked for Mr. Copsey to reach out to Joe Barker to ensure that Carroll Township would be willing to sign off on the resolution for annexation,
So that's where we,
and there's been no reply back
Okay.
regarding that, so.
so see, we did look at it.
So we're waiting on Tim.
We just can't remember.
That's right.
So is that one?
And I'm gonna have to remind him because he certainly doesn't
I think when
remember.
it's this expedited process, it really doesn't
Last
change
week, asked
anything as far as like taxes, I remember, wasn't it something like, since it's just gonna be part of the village, it wasn't really an issue because it's coming from the state to the village, so it really didn't change anything on taxes. Amy's asking me about police and fire. I don't remember looking at that on the
Well,
annexation.
it's under the ownership of ODOT, so, I mean,
So the highway patrols, if they annex it, wouldn't it be our town police that would be the ones?
Yeah.
Patrolling
But
it?
it's just that
Think of it
little
this.
area over the bridge.
so you have the overpass, okay? The land on each side of that overpass is only a few feet. It's just enough to get that bridge, that's all it is. So there's not really any real road use taxes. I mean, you know,
Yeah, I think the picture showed that it went just down to Joe Barker's drive where the
Yeah.
tile's
Yeah.
at and it stopped.
yeah, it's
Yeah,
just,
and I think we'd probably have to maybe have a survey done, cause what ODOT owns a much larger parcel.
there's this, I think there was a survey attached to it,
Okay.
because there was
Which was
distinct
a
property
smaller-
lands,
Which was smaller, okay.
so.
Sounds like it's in process.
Yeah,
Maybe.
All right.
the
But
beginning
that's,
stages.
yeah,
I did my
annexation's
duty.
a whole different animal. It's, yeah.
Okay.
I have one more thing for new
Okay.
business. I think, Mel,
Go ahead.
so when we were in finance, can you do me a favor, or us a favor, and see what we can use the money that's in the indigent driver alcohol fund for?
Who, me?
Yes. I guess Amy,
Okay.
Amy had said that there had been a discussion about it prior, like years, but. and-
Remember, we have that indigent,
Yeah, I know that that's passed every month, but I
Yeah.
can look at that. How much time do you want me to spend? I hate to
I
go
don't-
down a rabbit
Well,
hole
there's like
here.
$43,000 in there, so if there's something that we could use it
No,
on
there's
this.
only like six.
Oh,
not
I-
43,
I thought it was 43.
no.
No, it's only like
Um,
6,000.
No, well, either way, there's.
Indigent drivers.
Yeah, there's like one that's like
It can be used for-
3,500, and then there's another one with
For
100.
Yeah,
That's
well,
the
the 100
monitor.
one was the monitor
Alcohol
one, right?
monitor is 100.
Yeah.
And
No,
then that
you
you've
indigent
looked
driver.
into it,
I
for
have.
George, don't, I mean, like, if you go back to old stuff, you should find where you talked to us, because we wanted to know if we could donate it to Paulding, to
And
the
I think we
county.
couldn't.
There were things that you said we could do to it, since this
I'll
is
go
a
back
new
and look.
council.
But,
Since
yeah,
I can
don't-
remember annexation from a month ago, I really don't remember.
No,
that,
and
but
yeah,
I-
no, that's fine.
I'm at a loss of words. I can't believe it.
$3,700.
Okay.
I can
How
remember
about
I did
the-
last week.
Just
Okay.
just under 3,700.
No, we're-
It's in the
yeah, maybe I
indigent
have my
driver?
decimal.
Indigent driver.
But yeah.
So it is next month,
I
fine.
think
Yeah,
you
that's
have,
fine.
you
Yeah,
have to
no
extend it
rush. I just
for,
wondered,
Well,
because
it's
it's sitting there and
People
we
that
were
can't afford
going
to go to
through.
treatment.
Do you
right,
remember what
right,
year
I mean,
I
it's gonna be
looked at it?
specific to that
It's for-
fine.
It's for
And then
somebody
one might
that's
Probably 15 or
that
16.
gets in trouble with drugs or alcohol.
Definitely not 15,
and
go si-
Can't
16
afford to
would've
go
been my
get
first budget,
treatment,
so try
Then
16,
we've got money
17.
here we could
2016,
spend to
2017.
send them to get
And
treatment,
me
I
and George were the
believe
ones driving.
is what that
Is that
does.
Because
Yeah.
it just sits there.
I think
You
that's the
can't
only
do
thing we
anything
can do
with
with it. Now, we said we'd look to seeing about donating it to Paulding, but I don't think we can move it that way. To
I'll
let them use it.
Probably not, because across political subdivisions.
Dean,
Or
were
if we
you
can
use
posted
it.
when
Mayor's
you-
court.
I put that on my list.
Yeah, or if we
Okay,
can
what
use it
year did
for
you become a
anything.
council member? Your first,
17.
So
okay.
17, you think is when I looked
yeah.
at it? I cannot believe I don't remember that.
Because it's such a great topic.
It's fascinating.
Ranks right up
I'll
there at
look
the
at it.
top.
I'll go look at my 2017 file.
All right. Mayor's report. For this month, total to the city, $97.
No.
In
To the city?
to the village, Antwerp,
Okay,
that's what mine says.
okay.
Of $97. To the state is 75. Nope, you're right.
We're giving ourselves more.
Well, I got,
I
there's
got
two
checks
city,
from 'em and
no,
they
they're
were-
okay, I added them up. The indigent driver is $3. That sounds about right. Total to the city is 350. That sound better? Well, that's what Victoria gave me. This added up to the 5. Yeah, this adds up. I added it up.
447 to the city,
See, they're
75 to the state. and $3 to the
And
indigent
it adds
driver.
up to five, okay. I
$5.25.
read the wrong line back
It's okay,
here.
I have
I
the
added it
information.
up, and I knew it was 525, so,
Gee,
okay.
There's 2 pages there. That
the
one page, I
city,
don't know
yeah.
what it is. The other page is the page we use.
447 to the city, Village of Antwerp. To the state, 75. And
3.
that doesn't add up either. $3 to the indigent.
It's
525 is the grand total.
That's
That,
right.
that adds up.
This isn't,
That adds up.
she changed her form. Yeah,
I know it's hard.
well, this is what I usually read it from. Sorry, guys, total's $525. Okay,
Make a motion to adjourn?
very good.
Second.
Dean Reister,
Yes.
Jason Franks,
Yes.
Bryce Steiner,
Yes.
Steve Jordan,
Yes.
Kenny Reinhardt,
Yes.
and Brian Smith.
Yes.